welcome to Saturday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where today we're going to be taking a look at a brand new puzzle that has been both recommended to us and requested a lot over just the last 2 or 3 days. It's called Constructing a Murder Scene, and it's by Mr. Menace. Now, I love Mr. Menace's puzzles, and apparently those of you who've solved this say that this is just plain and simply a masterpiece. It's got a 100% approval rating on Logic Masters Germany and the dreaded 5 stars out of 5 for difficulty, so it's clearly not an easy puzzle, but it is a brilliant one. And I've read through the rules actually, and the rules are really succinct. So if you check out Logic Masters Germany or the Discord server, there are loads of chaos constructions at the moment. Chaos constructions are these puzzles where there are no regions given. And a lot of them have very long rule sets to compensate for the fact there are no regions. Here, the rules are really quite succinct and short, so it's going to be quite interesting to see how this works, and I'm looking forward to trying it mightily. But before we do that, let me read you. Let me give you the news, I suppose, or at least the Sudoku news. Start off with some birthdays. So happy 41st birthday today to a wonderful husband and father, David Simpson. Now, David, if I'm not mistaken, I think you may have just tweeted one of your birthday presents to us, which may have been a Cracking the Cryptic mug. So I hope you like that. But that message comes from your wife Hannah and Max and Ella as well. So I hope you have a brilliant day. And then happy 31st birthday to Liz Buchanan, who is celebrating, I think you're from North Carolina, Liz, but you're celebrating in the Bahamas. Now that sounds like you're living the high life to me, so I hope you have a good birthday too. The other person I should say happy birthday to, of course, is my great friend Chris Lear, who is turning 50 today. And I can't go to your birthday party, Chris. I am so sorry about that. But I'm not sure if you're going to watch the video. I know you watch some of them, but Chris is one of my favourite people. Brilliant puzzler and just a genuinely good bloke. So, Chris, I hope you have a great day as well. Now, loads more of you have managed to solve the Modular Lines Sudoku packs that are available now over on Patreon. Do check those out if you haven't had a look at them. They are getting rave reviews. And the following have managed to successfully do them. So Anne-Marie DeHaan, Christopher Johnson, Scott Williams, Matthew Ender, Joe Chang, Dylan Bianchi, Fool on Hill, Dr. G, Andy Pip 88, Bill Alsop, Stephen, and to definitely Nancy Lip, Chesick, Nathan Hurt, and Jan Lim. And that more of you have solved that as well, but I'll read out more names as days go by. And it's very close to the start of August, where we have a brand new monthly reward coming up for you then as well. So do look out for that if you're a patron of the channel. Other things to say, we've got our new app out, Domino Sudoku. Do have a look at that if you haven't had a look at it. Thank you so much to those of you who've downloaded it and written nice reviews of it. We really appreciate it. And tomorrow is the day it comes out on Steam. So if you've been waiting for it on PC, tomorrow it should be out. Then what was the other thing I was meant to mention today? I know what it was. It was the following. We're closing in anyway on 500,000 subscribers for the channel, a number that is so ludicrous I cannot tell you. But Mark and I have been talking about how we're going to sort of celebrate this milestone if we do manage to reach it. And what we've decided to do is to release a special app, a free app with some puzzles in it by some of the great and the good of the Sudoku community. So people like Fistamafel and Codec and Clover have very kindly contributed puzzles to this app. So we're going to release it completely free. It'll be available on Android, on Apple, on Steam, the moment we reach 500,000 subs. So if you are if you're not a subscriber and you're thinking of becoming a subscriber, it would be a very good time to do that, because we've been testing the puzzles that these people have sent, and they're they're just gorgeous, as you'd expect. And we thought a free app would be a really nice way to say thank you to everybody out there who's become a subscriber. over the last few years. So that's hopefully in the offing in the not too distant future, once we get to 500k. Now, all that said and done, let's get on with constructing a murder scene and see what Mr. Menace has got in store for us. So the rules are as follows. Place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, column and region. The 9 regions are to be constructed by the solver, and each contains 9 orthogonally connected cells. So that's why we've got no 3x3 boxes in this puzzle. We're going to have to build the regions ourselves, and they don't have to be 3x3 boxes. They just have to be 9 orthogonally connected cells. Like that could be a region. Additionally, every region contains cells from exactly 2 cages, and cells in one cage are distributed across exactly 2 regions. In cages, digits sum to the small clue in the top left corner of the cage, and digits cannot repeat within a cage. So what does that middle bit there mean? Additionally, every region contains cells from exactly 2 cages. Right, so if we start building a region, well, yeah, let's say we built a region and we knew these cells were in the same region. Then we would know we would have to include cells from 2 different cages in this region. So let's do that like that. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. And what was the other bit? And cells in one cage are distributed. Oh, okay. And cells in one cage, and these are the cages, are distributed across exactly 2 regions. So if this was a 9-cell region, then this 12 cage here, these 2 digits would have to belong to a different region and the same region. What we couldn't do is this and have these cells in different regions, because now this 12 cage has got 3 different regions in it, and that seems to be against the rules. So every region has to visit exactly 2 cages, and every cage has to be divided into exactly 2 regions, and then we're good to go. And that's all the rules that are going to apparently allow us to build all the regions and solve this puzzle uniquely. I can see why it's difficult. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. So the first thing I'm seeing here is that Mr. Menace has been jolly kind and given us some given cages. They've got to be 7, 8, 9, because 24 in 3 cells can only be 7, 8 or 9, given 7, 8 and 9, given we can't repeat a digit in a cage. A 29 cage must be 5, 7, 8, 9, not 0. A 12 cage must have a 1 and a 2 in it, which might be worth recording. It's either going to be 1, 2, 3, 6 or 1, 2, 4, 5. The 11 cage here looks like it's desperate to be a 5, 6 cage, given it's sort of ringed by these 7s, 8s and 9s. But I don't know if I can force that now. And then we've got a lot of bigger cages. Look, that is a 6-cell cage, adding to 33. So we may have to think about the secret for some of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay, we're going to have to think about the secret. Now, the secret is something I only tell my favourite people. And if you're watching this video, of course you're one of those people, so I will tell you the secret. The secret is that any complete row, any complete column, and indeed any complete region, and indeed any complete 9-cell cage must sum to 45, because it contains the digits 1 to 9 once each, and if you add up the numbers 1 to 9 you get 45. So I'm just thinking about this 33 cage here. It's missing 3 numbers, because if it was a 9-cell cage it would contain all the numbers. It's only a 6-cell cage, so it's missing 3 numbers, and those numbers must sum to 12, because we know a 9-cell cage would sum to 45, and this cage sums to 33. Now that might be more interesting for the 41 cage here, which is a 7-cell cage, and therefore is missing a 1 and a 3, because it's missing 2 digits that add up to 4. Now there's a 29 cage there, which is also a 7-cell cage, so that's missing 2 digits that add up to 16, so that's missing 7 and 9. And this is a okay, so that's a 7-cell 30 cage, which is therefore missing 2 digits that add up to 15. So this is either missing 7 and 8 or 6 and 9. So it's probably, I'm just wondering if that implies it's going to pick up the 7 and the 8 from that 24 cage. But actually that's not, this isn't getting us very far, is it? Does it matter that I know there's no 1 or 3 in the 41 cage? Maybe not. Right, okay, but hang on, doesn't additionally every region cells? Yeah, okay, I see there's something going on in the top left of the grid here because of the instructions. So we know that this 41 cage, I've got to divide that 41 cage into 2 halves, or they may not be halves, but certainly this cage here is made up of 2 regions only. Now, where are the regions that we build into this 41 cage going to visit? Where are they going to go to find a second cage? Because we know each region visits exactly 2 cages. Well, the only cage they can visit is the 29 cage. And that's really interesting, because you can see that once the cages, once the regions, gosh, it's going to be very difficult to get my nomenclature clear here, I will try and do it. Once the regions that visit the 41 cage then visit the 29 cage, and that's the only other cage they can get to from the 41 cage, because the 29 cage pens in the 41 cage, they can't then go and visit the 30 cage or the 33 cage, because that would be a 3rd cage. So hang about, so how many cells have we got in the top of this grid? We've got 14, haven't we, in those 2 cages? 15, 16. Aha, this is lovely. Right, this is important. So if we think about it, the 2 regions that visit that 41 cage must contain 18 cells, because each region will contain 9 cells. And we now know that those regions can never visit this 33 cage or this 30 cage. So they must come out down this little channel. That's the only way they can get out. And they must visit 16. If they, well, do they have to take, yes, they have to take that cell, because no other region can get to this cell. Yes, so they're going to take all of those cells, which is 15, 16, 17, 18, so that we can actually pen in exactly where, let's actually ring that completely. That is 2 complete regions in this puzzle. Now we might be able to start colouring, because those 3 must all be in the same region. And then this yellow region is going to visit cell or cells of the 29 cage, and then it's going to go into the 41 cage. Okay, but we don't know how it does that, I don't think. But this is definitely interesting, isn't it? And this is all very cluttered at the bottom as well. Because, how does this... Hang on, this 24 cage looks very troubled to me. Which other cage... So we know that this 24 cage is split into 2 regions. Now, what would happen if one of those regions went into the 11 cage? It can't. Because once it goes in the 11 cage, it can't go anywhere else. It's completely blocked in. Because it can't then... Anything that visits this 24, if it then visits the 11, it cannot go into another cage, and there's nowhere else it could go. Its next move would take it either into the 30 cage or the 24 cage, which would both be illegal moves. So that is also forced, and that's telling us that the 24 cage shares, well, the 24 cages regions go into the 30 cage as well. And because, yes, okay, and because there must be two regions in here, those two regions both go into the 30 cage, so the 30 cage cannot have, it cannot be visited by any other cage's regions, because the two regions in here are going to appear in the 30 cage. So this is also a little segment, isn't it? How many cells is that? That's 10. And then that's going to have to come out down the bottom of the grid. And therefore this cell is going to have to be in those regions because nothing else can get here. So that's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Oh my goodness me. So all of that, I don't really know. Should I just colour that actually? Actually, red's probably a very intrusive colour. Let's go for purple. So this region here has to be kept apart from these cages. But this is only, I think that was only 16 cells of this purple region. And the purple region, don't forget, represents two regions altogether. So it needs to be 18 cells in all. Ah, now the 11 cage has to be in two regions, doesn't it? Every region. Cells in one cage are distributed across exactly two regions. So that must be forced, which means that's forced. So we're actually going to be able to build up some sort of micro regions here. This is a real 9-cell region rather than being an 18-cell region like the purple. This is a 9-cell region. That must come out. So that's pushing purple into here. So purple has now reached 17 cells. So the final purple cell is here or here. If it was here, orange would go up. Oh, this is interesting because the blue region has visited two cages, so it can't visit the 33 cage. So this is very cool. So if orange bends up and then purple bends up, it couldn't go in here, so purple would have to go that way. So if that bends up, then... Oh no, I thought that was going to pen it in. It doesn't seem to. Okay, sorry, that might be possible. That might be possible. It might be possible for orange to bend up and then blue can sort of escape without having to go into the 33 cage. Wow. Okay, so what does this mean? That's the next question. The answer to that is I don't know. Can we somehow... Is there some way of dividing up the 30 cage, the 30 cage and the 24 cage? How could we do that? I know that the 24 cage must be split into two. So if we make the split like that, then this cage would come up here, it would have to go around there, it would have to come down here, it would have to come down to here, it would have to come down to here, because we need to leave enough room. No, it doesn't work. That doesn't work. Oh, that's really strange. Okay, but hopefully you can see this. That the problem here is that if I have two regions in purple that and neither of those regions sits entirely within the first sort of couple of columns of the grid, then both of them need to exit down column 9. Row 9, and they can't both exit along row 9. That will not work. In fact, perhaps that's the better way of thinking about this. Yes, I see. The better way of thinking about this is to actually focus on the row 9 region, because obviously whatever region is coming along here, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a 7th cell in one of these two cells. So yes, and it has to visit. Yes, this is easy. This is easy now. I've thought about it the other way round. So this is 6 cells of one region. There's a 7th cell in one of those. Yet this region needs to visit 2 cages. So it must get to that cell. That's the only cell it could get to. So in fact, there is a region like this and one of those 2 cells as well. And that means we've actually managed to work out a complete region on the left or the bottom left of the grid. This 9 cells must be the digits 1 to 9 once each. Now, right. Okay, now I have proved the 11 cage is a 5-6 cage, because look at this. Okay, this is very beautiful. So let's look at, well, in fact we did this just the other day with the Bastion puzzle. Let's look at columns 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now obviously those 4 columns of the grid contain the digits 1 to 9 4 times. But this sort of Q-shaped region contains the digits 1 to 9 twice, because that's 2 complete regions. We've just worked out that that's another region, so that's 3 complete sets of the digits 1 to 9 in these outlined cells, which means that these cells at the bottom, that is in effect a region of the grid that must contain the digits 1 to 9 once each, in order that columns 1 to 4 contain 4 sets of the digits 1 to 9. And look, there's a 7, 8, 9 triple in that region already. So how are we going to make the 11 cage work? Well, that must be a 5, 6 pair. So these squares are 1, 2 and 3. Which doesn't actually help at all. Okay, sorry, I thought that was going to be really dramatically cool, but it's not really done very much. I don't know, but this is the sort of puzzle I absolutely love, because it's just so interesting the way it's been set up to find these little nuggets of logic in it. So, right, so can we do... Okay, yes, we can. I was thinking about, can we do maths on this region? Because we know the 30 cage is missing. It's missing 2 cells that sum to 15. So, no, there's a simpler way of thinking about this. I keep staring at things and then coming up with other ways to think about them. The simplest way to think about the 30 cage is to think about that digit, isn't it? Where does that digit go in this region, this 9-cell region? It must go in there somewhere. Now, what it can't do is go in any of the 30 cage positions, because then it will, if this digit, let's say this digit was a 1, if it was to go in any of those cells, it would repeat in its cage, which is not allowed. Now, this digit is a 1, 2 or a 3, which is therefore not a 7, 8 or 9, so it can't go in those cells either. So the only place it can go is here, and that's creating a 1, 2, 3 triple in the bottom row. It's also telling us that now those digits add up to 30, because these cells are exactly the same as the digits in the 30 cage, because this cell and this cell are the same digit. So that if these digits add up to 30, and we know that the 30 cage is missing 2 digits that add up to 15, that must be those 2 digits, which therefore mean those 2 digits are a 7, 8 pair. This is a 9. This is not a 9. And What's that doing? I don't know. That's doing something, I'm sure. 9. Yeah, okay. Where does 9 go in the bottom row? It's got to go in one of those two cells because it can't repeat in this region. So if this purple cage here, actually what I should do now is give the purple cages, I should change the colour, shouldn't I? Let's make that green. And this one can be purple now because we've disambiguated that 18 cell region we were working on originally. So these squares have got to be from 5, 6 and 8, haven't they? Yes, 5, 6 and 8. That one can't be 8. And what I was thinking is if purple here extends to this cell, because purple has one more cell to gain, it's either this one or this one. If purple goes here, then this can't be a 9 and this would be a 9. And that might be interesting for orange, which orange has a 9 in it already because of this 24 cage. Okay. So that cell can't be a 1 by Sudoku, so that can't be a 1. So there's now a 1 in the bottom row. Now, are there any digits at the top? We know that there's no 1 or 3 in the 41 cage. And we know there's no 7 or 9 in the 29 cage. So is that helpful? I don't know that it is actually. So 3 in this column can be in one of those cells, and that's fine. It could even be here. I suppose the 30 cage needs a 1 in it, doesn't it? Because the only digits that are not in the 30 cage are this 7 and 8. So there's a 1 in one of those two cells by Sudoku, which means that that cell is not a 1, which means there's a 1 in one of these two cells. Wow, okay. Can we do anything clever with that? I'm not sure. No, okay. I'm stuck now. I'm not sure whether I'm meant to be looking at building I sort of want to build these regions out, but I'm not seeing how to do it. Or whether I'm meant to be thinking just simply about Sudoku, perhaps. And then I've got to think about how to build the top, this Q shape. I've got to split that up into two different regions. The 41 cage contains every digit apart from 1 and 3. So this cage could pick up that 1. Oh, right. Wow. Okay. Okay, I should have seen this straight away, and I didn't at all, but there is something I think quite important here. Yeah, that's weird. Right. So I think what I've got to do here is appreciate something it's fairly obvious once you think about it, but I hadn't understood it. What are those 4 digits? Well, I think I'm right in saying they have to be the digits that don't appear in these cages. So they have to be the digits 1, 3, oh no, hang on, these digits have to be 1, 3, 7 and 9. And the reason I think that's true is we know that the 41 cage hasn't got 1 or 3 in it. So as we're building a region here, let's start building a region. We can say, okay, well, where's it going to get its 1 and its 3? Can't it get it from the 29 cage? Absolutely, it could get it from the 29 cage. That's fine. Let's say it got this 1, and let's say there was a 3 here, and it got, whoops, and it got that 3. That's fine. But now, when it comes to building the second region that we know must exist in the top left of the grid, where is that region getting its 1s and 3s from? It can't get it from the 41 cage. It can't get it from the 29 cage because that's contributed it to the black region already. So it must get it from one of the cells that's uncaged. And the same logic obviously will apply to the 7s and the 9s. So I think that feels right, doesn't it? It just feels sort of counterintuitive as well. But that means those cells have to be 1, 3, 7 and 9. And that is not 9 by Sudoku. So one of these is 9. Which means that's not 9. Good grief. Good grief. So now I've got a 7, 8 pair looking up. So now these are not 7. Which means that's a 7, I think. Which means that's a 7 and that's an 8. This is quite beautiful. I've got a 1, 3, 9 triple here, so that's a 2, I think. And that 2 is in the same region as purple, so that's a 3, and that's 3 in the corner, and that's a 1. And that's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion. Oh, this is just beautiful. This is just quite beautiful. You can already see why this is a 100% rated puzzle. It's because it's absolutely brilliant. Now, with this being a 5, 6 pair, that's not a... Oh, hang on, I can place the 1 in this string. I've got a 1 here and a 1 here. Those can't be 1s, that's a 1. So this is a 3, 9 pair. Sorry, I'm just seeing if I can disambiguate that. I'm not sure I can. But now I must know what those 3 digits are, mustn't I? Because we know that this cage is missing 7 and 9. So I've got to put 2, 3 and 8 in there. So that's a 2 by Sudoku. It sees 3 and 8. So this is a 3, 8 pair. Now, what does that mean? So maybe this column is where we look next. 4's fine. Oh, this 1 is doing more work than I've noticed. So I've actually got no, I've only got 4 1s. It felt like I got loads of 1s. I haven't at all. I've got a few. I need to put 4, 5 and 6 into this column. That can't be 4. That... Oh no, that can... Right, it's only 1s and 3s that are not appearing in the 41 cage. This... Oh, right, here's a law of leftovers point. This column needs to have 8s, 7s, 1s in it. Well, you can't put 8s and 7s here because we've got 8s and 7s already appearing in green. So the 8s and the 7s have to go up there, along with this digit, which is a 4, 5 or a 6. So I could almost pencil mark that in. I think I'm going to. Those cells can only be from 4, 5, 6, i.e. this digit and these 2 digits. The 1 is already being catered for in column 1 by the given 1. So that can't be 7. Right, okay, I can do better. That 7 is ruling 7s out of those cells. That means there's a 7 in one of those 2 cells, which means that's not a 7. Now, where does the 7 go in column 1? It has to go there. So now I've got 8s in one of these 2 and an 8 in the 29 cage. So I can't put 8. Oh, that's weird, actually. I was going to say, like, triumphantly, I can't put 8 in any of those cells, but I actually already know that because there's an 8 in one of those. Or I can't put 8 there. I already know that because there's an 8 here. I can't put 8 there. Well, there's already an 8 here, so that deals with that. So the only cell, actually, I've been able to eliminate 8 from using that logic is this one. And I suppose that one. And then neither of those were really cells I was focusing on. What about those two cells, then? We know what they are. They've got to be 2 and 9. So that... so 9 benefits from the same sort of relationship. There's a 9 in this string of digits and a 9 in this domino. So we can't have 9s in any of these cells. Eight. Yes, nearly. 8 in column 5. Where does that go? Well, it can't go in any of those cells, or it would repeat in its cage. It can't go here by Sudoku. Can it really go there? Oh, okay, maybe it can go there. So 8's in one of 2 positions in column 5. Although 25... we can do some maths to sort this out. Let's look at column 5. What do those 5 digits there sum to? Well, they sum up to 33 minus 8, which is 25. Now 25 plus 9 is 34. That means those 3 digits there sum up to 11 to make sure the whole column sums to 45. And if that was an 8, well, that's going to be at least a 5. And 8 plus 5 is 13. It's more than 11. So that can't be 8, which means that's 8. So now I've got 17 and 25 is 42. So these have to be a 1-2 pair in order to work. And this is a 2 and this is a 1. And now I've got even more 1s than I had before. Ooh, I can almost do something with 2s. But maybe I can't do anything clever with 2s. 2 is now in 3 positions in the 12 cage. I know what these digits are. I'm not sure that's worth pencil marking. I now know I've got a 9 in yellow. So it's not possible for both of those to be yellow, or there would be 2 9s in yellow. I've also got a 3 in yellow, so it's not possible for both of those to be yellow, or I'd have 2 3s in yellow. Wow, okay, I'm now stuck, I think. Can I do any better with the 29 cage? Don't think so. Wow, look at the bottom row. I've got loads of digits in it. 5, 6s and 9s to place. Okay. Do I... What on earth do you do now? What on earth do you do now? It's really not clear. There must be... Oh, okay, maybe I've got to think about... There's a 9 in one of these 2 cells. A 9 can't belong to orange or to purple. Okay. So what I'm wondering about is wherever the 9 is down here, what region does it belong to? Is it a new region or is it an existing region? Now, if it's an existing region, it has to be the blue region, but I don't think it can be the blue region Because even if I put the 9 as far away as I can, and I make as much room as I can, which I think is like that, you can see if I make that the blue region, which is 9 cells, and it's as I've sort of given as much space as I can to the orange and the purple, the orange is never going to reach a size of 9 if I do that, so that's not going to work. And obviously if this is blue instead, I'm penning in the orange even more tightly. So that means that something here is not any of these 3 colours. Now, do I know for sure? Well, okay, so I know for sure then that the bottom right digit is a new colour, don't I? Let's just make that grey. And that's because even if this is the 9, if we make that one the 9, then as this region grows, it's very clear that you can't collect this cell into blue, orange or purple, getting round a 9-cell region in black here. Either this is black or it's another new region. So this cell is definitely not one of these cells. So, and that's, no, oh well, no, I think it's got options actually. What I was then thinking is, doesn't this have to visit 2 cages? But I think it can do that in a variety of ways. It could do that. It could do that. It could probably do something like that even. Okay. Well, I'm going to claim, I'm not sure how useful this is, but I'm going to claim that's impossible. And that's for a weird reason. If that was the region, what region is this in? And the answer is a region that hits both of these 2 cages. But that's a problem, because if there is a region that did that, this 8 cage can never have, the regions that go in the 8 cage can't visit another region anymore. Because if they did try and get into the, well, because we know that this region up here is divided, it's only allowed to be divided into 2 different regions, and the regions that have touched it definitely are grey and yellow. So that one can't get into anymore. There's no other cages available. And even if there were, this cage can't also go in the 8 cage because it's already visited the blue region has already visited 2 cages. So there's something going on here about the number of cages. Well, we can't have that sort of thing going on. But what's to stop this doing something like that? Oh, no, even that might be tricky, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So blue, orange, purple. We've put 15 cells into those regions at the moment, which means we have to put in another 12 cells altogether, because they must each be of size 9. 3 times 9 is 27. So there are 12 more cells to do. So if that did that, that's not enough. Oh, right. I see how to think about this. Right, this is very beautiful, by the way. Yeah, this is lovely. It's just lovely. Okay, this is some new region that lives in the bottom right of the grid. We have no clue. We have absolutely no clue what shape it is. Hello, Maverick. But here is what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and limit the amount of cells that this region sits in the bottom 4 rows of the grid. I'm going to try and limit that to the absolute maximum I can. Okay, well, how many cells would this region therefore have in the bottom 4 rows if I try and keep this out of the bottom 4 rows to its maximum extent? And the answer is it would have 4, because if it goes straight up the column, it's only taking 4 cells from the bottom 4 rows of the grid. Now, if it meanders at all before it gets out, it's taking more than 4, or at least 4. But it cannot take less than 4 in the bottom right of the grid. It's impossible. So, if 4 of the cells in the bottom 4 rows of the grid are used up by the grey region, but we have to add 12 more cells to the blue, orange and purple regions, how do we do that, given that the blue, purple and orange regions cannot go into another cage? Well, even if this goes straight up the column, there's now only 10 cells there. That's a triangular number, 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. Sort of looks like a pool triangle, doesn't it? So that's 10 cells, but we know we've got to add 12 cells on to complete this shape. So we have to come through here. So something, probably blue actually, but I'm not totally sure about that, has to come through here. Now, it's got to come, even if this is taking the minimum number of cells in the bottom 4 rows, 10, it's got to take both of those. Because we've got to get 12 more cells into blue, orange and purple. So it's got to be at least those 2. And it could be more than that if grey meanders. Now let me just think. I was just thinking, does this have to be blue? Because if this is orange, surely blue can't reach a count of... No, it can't be orange. Because if it's orange, this is orange. And now how does blue reach a count of 9 cells? It can't. It needs too much space. So actually those 3 cells are blue. Now does that mean that's blue? I guess not, because actually something could come through the 33 cage, couldn't it, and pick up these cells. So okay, but now grey is restricted again. This is bizarre. This is absolutely... How do you come up with this stuff? I mean, it's just so weird. Yeah, because now where's grey getting its cages from? Grey has to visit 2 cages. I don't think it can now visit the 33 cage at all, because blue's in its way. Because however blue is completed, and we don't know how blue's going to be completed, but then for grey to get across to the 33 cage, it's going to have to get over the top there and into the 33 cage, which is far too far. So grey visits the 12 cage and the 29 cage. Yeah, this is it. How does grey ever come off this out of this column? If grey does this, which would work and would allow grey to visit the 29 cage and the 12 cage, then don't we have a problem with this problem we had before, which is now the region that we leave behind in column 9 also visits the 12 and 29 cage by force, and therefore the 33 cage can never, whatever regions visit that cage, can never visit a second cage. So this doesn't work. So what we've got to avoid having is anything... So I've got to visit the 12 cage with grey. I've got to visit the 29 cage, but I've got to leave behind the ability of the 12 cage. Whatever's left in the 12 cage once grey has visited it must be able to visit the 33 cage. That's the point. So that cell must not be grey, because if that cell is grey, there is no way for these two cells, for example, to visit the 33 cage, because they can't get through what will in the end be a wall of blue, and they can't come through grey. So that cell is now, that cell can't be blue, so this is a new colour. This cell here is a new colour, and I will make it red. I've not used red yet. Now grey has to get to the 29 cage, so it's got to come through this little gap here. Now it's of size 8 already. It only takes one more cell, so it either takes that cell. Oh, come off it. Oh, yes, okay, right. So how does grey finish? That's the question. Grey has a choice. It could go here, and that's what it's going to do. Because if it took this cell, which it could in theory, where does this digit now go in this column? Now let's just imagine that digit was a 5 for a moment. It needs to appear now in column 9. Now it can't repeat in its region, so it can't repeat here. So it has to go there, which is in the same cage as itself. So that cannot be right. Oh, that is sick. That is absolutely sick. So that cell is grey, and therefore we've got a 9-cell region at the end of the grid like that. And red now must take the other 2 cells in the 12, and we know that red has to get across to the 33. And we know the red doesn't go in the 29, because the 29 also has to get across to the 33. That's the only way the 33 gets the 2 regions in the 33 cage get access to 2 different cages. So these are all right. So hang on, I'm getting excited now. This has got to come through this gap. Red has got to come through that gap. And these 3 digits are all the same colour. I'll make it purple, because this purple's never going to touch this. And the 33 cage now is split up into red and purple. Well, I want to say that must be purple. If that's red, then purple can't be enough. So that's purple. How many regions have we now got? We've got 2 regions in the top left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have all 9 regions identified. So this square cannot be red, because that would isolate this. Once we closed red up, it would isolate this from purple. So those 2 are both purple. Purple is of size 9 altogether, so purple must take this cell, or it can't reach size 9, because it's got to come out through here. So now purple is of size 8, and it could take this to reach size 9, or it could take that to reach size 9. But now red has to grow, so that's got to be red. So this must be red, because purple can't reach it. This must be red, because purple can't reach it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's one, right, so there's one more cell that's red, and there's one more cell that's purple. Okay, so here's another point now. So let us look for a moment at these 2 cells and ask what colours they are. And the answer is, I don't know yet, except I know that they're either red or purple now, because nothing else can get to them. Now if they're red and purple, these are the missing cells from red and purple. Purple at the moment is 8 cells, red is 8 cells, so once we add these 2 cells in, we reach our total of 18 for these two regions combined, and that means I can do this. And this is either red or purple, and that's either red or purple. But I don't know. Actually, I don't like doing that. That's going to confuse me. But these are the ambiguous ones. Okay, where does 8 go in row 3? That's another question that we should ask at this point. That's quite an interesting question. It can't go there. It can't go in a 12 cage. It can't go here by Sudoku, and it doesn't seem to be able to go in any of those cells apart from that one. So that's 8, that's 3, that's 3, that's 9. That is very, very annoying because it doesn't do anything. Ah, yes, no, it does. It does do something, actually, because now let's come to this top left region, and yellow has a 3 in it, so that is a new colour. That we will award the mantra of, this is the important question. We'll make it orange. I think we can make it orange legitimately. So 1 is orange, because 1 can't be yellow. So that means these two must connect with each other, so that's now orange. So we've now got a 2, so that means yellow must grow. So now yellow needs a 2, which is one of those two. And orange needs a 9, which is one of these two. So, oh, okay. So it's this pair. One of them becomes orange, one of them becomes yellow. As the 7s get divided. I'm not sure whether I can do this. Can I? I don't know. I can't see a way of forcing these regions to grow in a particular way. I mean, that cell, that simply must be orange, I think. Because if that was yellow, then there's never going to be enough room for orange to be 9 cells. Okay, so that's orange, which means this is yellow. This... no, but I don't know. I still think there are options. I very strongly suspect that this is... I was about to say I strongly suspect it's yellow, but it could actually be orange. And orange could come across the top there. Okay, no, I'm not sure then. Right, so is it more Sudoku, or can we now... Yes, now we can finish some colouring. Because how does blue close? Or in particular, what colour is that? Well, that must be blue, because no other colour can reach it. Same is true there. So now blue has reached size 8. And that's very, very interesting, but I can't see what to do with it. So, okay, and purple, do we now know what purple is doing? I don't think I do. If purple goes up, then orange 2, 3, has to reach a size 9, so it would have to do that, and that would be the final blue cell. If purple comes here, then this would have to be... Oh! Okay, so we now know which of these is 9, I think. And that's because this cannot now be blue. So it is either orange or purple, and purple and orange already have 9 in them. So the 9 must go in the corner, which does do something. Look, so now that can't be 9. Something very minor. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Now that can't be a 2 in red. Because it, well, or in the 12 cage, because if that's a 2, that row looks impossible to me. You can't put 2 in the 12 cage because it would repeat. You can't put 12 in red because it would repeat. And that can't be a 2 by Sudoku, and those don't seem to be able to be 2. So now I've got a 1-2 pair in my 12 cage, which means these squares are not, well, they're not 3, 6. Oh, wow, they're 4, 5. Ah, beautiful. So that's 6, that's 5. 6. Oh, no! Oh, I was about to conclude this couldn't be purple because purple already has a 6 in it. But purple does not have a 6 in it. So does that mean that has to be the purple 6? Or could that be the purple 6? Oh. Oh, I don't believe it. I don't think we know. So I still don't. Even though we've just got this digit, I still don't think I know whether this is purple or not. I think it could perhaps still be orange if that's the purple 6. Oh, right, okay, we've got a 4, 5 pair here, though, so that means 5 is not in those cells. Is that important? I don't know. I don't know. What on earth am I meant to do here? There must be, I think there's probably Sudoku-y type things that we can start to think about. You know, questions like, yeah, like where does that digit go in red is an interesting question. In fact, that is a very interesting question. Where does that digit go in red? Because it can't go in the 12 cage, it can't go in those cells by Sudoku, it can't, it's a 1 or a 2, so it can't go there, and it can't go there because that sees a 1 and a 2. So this cell goes in, oh, so that finishes red. Oh, this is so clever. Where does that go? I'm just going to double check this, but I think it's right. It must live in red somewhere. It's not this digit because these are in the same cage and the same row. It's not there. It can't be here. It can't be here. Which means it must be in the red cell that we've not yet identified. And that, if that was that cell, that cannot be a 1 or a 2. So that is red. And that is a 1 or a 2. And it's the same as this. And now that is the final purple. So perhaps now the trick is going to be to highlight the rest of red and see what it can be just by Sudoku, because we've already had 1, 2, 4, 5 and 8 in it, so we need to have 3, 6, 7 and 9. Now that can't be 9, that can't be 9, or 3 actually. That can't be 3, right, that's a 6, 7 pair. So this is a 3, 9 pair. Don't believe it. That's literally not resolved at all. So that's got to be a 4, 5 or a 6. I don't believe it. Oh, no. Okay, no, that's not going to do anything either. I was just going to say, where does 4 go in purple using the given 4? I mean, 4 is in one of those 3 cells, but I don't think it's doing anything. Good grief. Okay. What about 3 in this column? Can't go there. Must be in one of those 2 cells. Don't think we know which one. Oh, I don't. This is extraordinary that this is resisting now, because it does feel like we've sort of almost got all the logic done. What about... I don't know. Those two are the same. Is that somehow usable? I think these could both be ones. Probably. If that... no. Okay, I'm not sure. I've just seen we've tripped over the hour. I'm not remotely surprised. Hang on a moment. Let me just think about that one. Well, I don't know if this does anything, but those 3 digits are interesting in purple, because those 3 digits, I think, see the whole of the 29 cage. Even this one doesn't look like it does, but it does, because if whatever we put in there, let's try and put 8 in there, just for, actually let's try and put 7 in there, because that can actually, this could be a 7. If this was a 7, where would you put 7 now in the 29 cage? It couldn't go anywhere, because obviously whatever's in here can't go in there because they are already in purple, and it can't go in here by Sudoku. So that digit there, and that applies to all 3 of those digits. These 3 digits have to be from 1, 2, 3, and 6, and 4. No, hang on, that's not right. 1, 2, 3, and 6, because the 4 always franks them as well. So we've got 4, 5, 7, 8, 9 removed from these. So these are 1, 2, 3, and 6. That's not 1 or 2. No, come on, you rotten thing. Is there a... That's not 4. Maybe there's some sort of quadruple or something. 1, 2, 3. Where... Okay, no, I was about to say, where does 9 go? 9's still got 2 possibilities. Okay, right. Okay, I've given it. I don't know what to do. Let's now let's look at these now, because we now know these digits are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 3, 4, 5, or 6. Is there any? Can we do any better than that? 3, 4, 5. This one is 4, 5, 6, or 7. Oh, that's interesting. I'm just double checking that. Yes, this cell is the important one, because by Sudoku this can only be 4, 5, 6, or 7. Yet it cannot be 6 or 7, because these 2 digits are different. They're both in red, and they both see this cell. So if that was 7 and that was 6, you can see this can be neither 6 nor 7. So this digit becomes 4 or 5, which finds a pair here, which means these 2 squares have to be from 6, 7, and 8. That's not... Whoa, hang on. That's not 7, because it sees 7 in this. That can be anything again. I don't believe it. Really? We've got a 4, 5 pair here. These have to be from 6, 7, and 8. Okay, that seems to be possible. Oh no, this is simpler than I'm making it, isn't it? Yes, it is. Where does 7 go in column 5? It can only go here, I think, because 7's ruled out of this one by the logic we did on the 29 cage. So this is 7, that's 6, which means that's 8, which means that's 7, which means that's 7. Here we go, come on. 9 is not here. So 9 is now in one of these 2, and that sees that cell. So that's 2, that's 9, that's 1, that's 2, that's 1. Oh, please, please, please keep going. That 8 sees that that cell in blue. So that's a 7. That's an 8. How many 7s have we got in the grid? Lots. 1, 2, 3. All of them. I should be able to get the last one. It's in row 8. It goes here. That's a 7. Okay, that's going to be interesting, perhaps. Yes, the other thing I've just noticed is that this little run of digits here, of course, is a 3, 4, 5, 6 quadruple, and that 3, 4, 5, 6 quadruple exists within purple. Therefore, these cells cannot be 3, 4, 5 or 6, so they are not 3, 6, and that cell is not 5, and therefore this is an 8, 9 pair, so that is not 8, which means that we now get the 8 in column 1, and this cell is a 5 because we need a 5 in the 29 cage, so that cell becomes a 6. That, I was about to make this a 5 because I was thinking there's a white region. There is no such thing as a white region. That's a 3. This 6 is going to eliminate stuff once we know what regions everything's in. This is it's quite remarkable. Oh, yeah, where does 3 go? In row 2 now. That's got to go here. Where does... I don't know. Okay, so have we now... I'm sure... Well, this 1 is doing 1s and 2s work. How many 1s have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 again. So again, the 1 in row 8 looks to be the thing we haven't yet secured, and that must go here. So that's a cell. Okay, well that clearly can't be purple, because purple gets its last digit in one of those, and it can't be blue. Blue's got 8 digits in it, so it needs to be orange. That cell must be orange for the same reason, because blue can only take its last cell in an orthogonally adjacent position. So that cell, what actually are the options for that cell? It can't be orange, it can't be an existing number in orange, and it also can't be 2, 4 or 5, so it could be 3 or 6, and that's it, isn't it? It can't be 6, actually. 6 is down there. Well, yeah, in fact, so what can this be? It can't be 1, it can't be 2, it can be 3, it can't be 4, 5, it can't be 6, 7, 8, 9. That's a naked single. Wow, that's a 3. Doesn't seem to do anything. Maybe it allows me to place more 3s, though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 2 3s left to place. There's the 3 in blue, which is in one of those 2 cells, and the 3 in red, which is in one of those 2 cells. This square, this column needs 8 and 9 in it, therefore that has to be 9, and therefore that's 8, that's 9. Blue, blue needs a 9, hasn't got one yet, but orange doesn't, so that can't be orange, so must be blue, which means these 2 squares are both orange. Okay, so that feels like a breakthrough. I still don't know. Can this be 6? It still can be 6. But I reckon if we pencil out these digits, we might learn more. So these have got to be 3, 4, 5, or 6. And that's not 3. That's not 5. There's now a 4, 5, 6 triple in row 5 out of somewhere. So that's got to be a 2, and that's got to be a 9. Have we done all the 9s? Oh, look, sorry, there's a 9 here. I hadn't seen that. That's completely inept. So that's got to be 9, that's got to be 3, that's got to be 3. So now that has got to be 4. And orange still doesn't have 2s, 5s or 6s in it, so that's got to be one of those. But seems to have all of those options still available. Okay, 4s, 5s and 6s into this row. That can't be 5. That one seems to have options. Oh, please. Hang on. I know what I want to do. And that's actually outline that so it looks beautiful. Oh dear. What am I missing now? I'm sure that many of you are chorusing at your televisions 4, 6 and 8. Okay, 8 in this column is placed. Can that be 4 or 6 really? Apparently it can. This cell has to be 2, 5 or 6, and all are apparently available. This is bizarre. It's absolutely bizarre. Can that really be a 6? I'll make that a 6, which is fine. Don't know. Okay, so we've got to do a little bit more work to figure out the final pieces of this rather complicated jigsaw. Okay, so maybe the thing we do next is pencil mark the whole grid. I'm going to have to pencil mark these squares as well. 2, 4, 5, 6. Now, what can we get rid of from any of those squares, if anything? I don't know. Okay, I'm now starting to worry I've misunderstood a rule or something. I suppose it is possible as well that when I finally think about the top left of the grid, it might resolve some of these 4s, 5s and 6s for me. That is possible. 9 we know has to be orange, don't we? That 9 has to be orange. Okay, because it can't be yellow. So how does this 9 connect to its friends? Does it connect this way? No, because that's going to isolate this. So it must connect around the top, which gives us loads more digits. So now this square can't be 6, where it did used to have that availability. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've only got one more digit to put in orange, and it is a 4 or a 5. So the 2 and the 8 have to both be yellow. So this digit is now yellow, which gives me a 5, 6 pair in yellow. So yellow needs a 4, which could be this one, but it could also be this one. Ah! Yeah, if that's the orange 4, that would be a 5, and then that would be the yellow 4. Oh no. Okay, that seems all plausible. Alright, let's look at column 1, where this has been reduced to 4 or 5. That means the 6 in column 1 is down there, which means that cell is not 6. Which does actually give us a 4, 5 pair in this row and places a 6 here in blue, which means that's a 5 and that's a 4. Which means we can take 6 out of here and 6 and 4 out of here and make this a 6, which means that's not a 6. And that's it. That's actually, bizarrely, I don't know if there was a better way of doing that, but that's hugely powerful. Because, of course, now where does purple get its 6 from? It can only get it from here, which means that square is orange. So that feels like a bit of a breakthrough, doesn't it? We've now almost done the division of the grid. This square is a 4. Hang on, we can do this. That's got to be a 5. That gets me a 4 here. That gets me a 4 here. So now that's an orange 4. So that cannot be orange. That's got to be yellow. And therefore that's an orange 5, which, because we still need to put a 5 in orange. So that's a 6, that's a 5, that's a 4, that's a 5, that's a 6. This is a 5, this is a 4. This is a 2. So that's a 2, that's a 5, and that's a 6. And I reckon that might be the puzzle solved, although I haven't delineated yet this stuff at the top. That's just a wonderful, wonderful Sudoku. It's a long video, and I hope you'll forgive me that, because I don't think that was desperately easy. But what it was magnificent. What a puzzle. I'm just going to click tick now. Let's just see. Oh no! Oh no! Why is it saying that? Maybe it doesn't understand. Maybe it doesn't understand that, because it didn't highlight anything. Oh no. Okay, I'm going to have to spend longer. What I'll do is I might have to look at this in editing and see whether it looks right or not. I'm looking at the regions desperately now to see if they have got repeated digits in. I'm not spotting anything yet. 4, 5, that looks okay. I think the regions are correct. So it must be, and wouldn't the software have realised if I got a repeated number in a row or column? I don't know. Where's the mistake? I just don't know. I think I'm going to have to study this in editing and see whether I've made an error. I can't spot it at the moment. Maybe the cages are adding up to the wrong numbers or something. But I thought I did it logically. I really did. I really did. I hope I have. It could be correct, and just because it's a complicated puzzle, the software isn't sure what's going on. I hope that's the case. I actually pray that's the case. I don't want to look at another puzzle, and this does deserve to be seen. It's so beautiful. I'm so sorry, Mr. Menace. You'll never hear this apology if I've messed this up, because the video won't go live. But I can't see what's wrong with that. Well, so I'm going to think that it is correct. I'm going to say, fantastic, Mr. Menace, take a bow. Thank you for watching. Thank you for spending your Saturday evening with me for this amount of time, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.